Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the marketplace. You've got an exciting bulletin coming up this afternoon. Do stay tuned. Coming up, Environment Minister gives steel manufacturing firms at Free Zones Enclave a week to present roadmap to rectify air pollutant systems. Ahead, new United Kingdom survey suggests Ghanaians are spending more on data than on food during this pandemic. We'll get some insights. Plus, we'll join the mushroom queen at her kitchen as she re-strategizes to remain in business during these times. Looking forward to that conversation. Thanks for being with us once again. Details right after this break. And thank you for being with us here on the marketplace. My name is Darryl Kwa. We'll begin with a very disturbing story from Tema. The Environment Minister, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng, is not satisfied with the air quality control systems of 4 companies at the Free Zones Enclave. Now, the minister, during a visit to the enclave, asked the 4 companies, United Steel, Ryder Steel, Success Aluminum, and M&D Metals Company Limited, to rectify the situation. Charles Aite has been following that story for us.
Joy Business has extensively covered how these factories pollute the environment and share abandon despite regulations from the Environmental Protection Agency. Paying a welcome visit to the Free Zones Enclave, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng directed the various companies to work with the Environmental Protection Agency to rectify the anomaly, given a week's notice.
Issues with pollution. If you come to the factory, the extractor system is not working. There's a lot of fine dust in there that has coated the face of most of the workers. So we need to do some work here. And I think EPA will have to come and sit down with them and make sure that they do the right thing and that people who work here are not polluted, they don't get sick, because they are all liable to serious lung infections and so on. So that's where we are. I think the HR manager will take care of what you are saying, and we are not joking with it. The EPA will come here, sit down with you, and if people are not supposed to stay here during the night, because if it's not allowed, it's not allowed.
The visit is to familiarize himself with the operations of the various steel factories and to check on their level of compliance with air quality standards and other environmentally related issues.
We installed, they did it and they checked. That time it was working. Now since every time the scrap changes, the system airflow changed, so things change over a period of time. So they have been telling us to do a new one, which we have already told them what we are doing the new one. That's going on. Plus, EPA has been, we have been monitoring and submitting reports. Every month we have a monitoring done. Today itself, they are doing the smoke and environmental monitoring. 6 or 7 machines are already fitted somewhere.
The various companies have been given a week to present a work plan and roadmap towards rectifying existing defects in their air quality systems.
And we'll keep following that story for you. Just hope that the companies comply. Charles Aite, thank you very much for that report. Now, we are learning just how much the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the average Ghanaian, thanks to a survey conducted by a research firm, Survey 54. Now, the survey reveals, for instance, that more than 60% of Ghanaians spend more on data during this time of the pandemic, whereas 36% spend more on food, indicating that data is regarded as a necessity. We'll speak with the CEO of Survey 54 in a moment, but first take a listen to some of the people who took part in the survey.
I'm a tour guide, I'm a tour driver.
I'm a hairdresser,
a dance instructor, and a cinematographer.
I'm a model.
I'm a young artist.
I'm a student.
MC for events and a waiter as well.
I'm a painter.
And I'm a cleaner with school.
How's COVID-19 affected your life?
Before the COVID-19, I think business was booming for we, the Uber drivers.
You know, things were going on good. Talking about financial stuffs, everything was fine.
Parties, weddings, and funerals.
Organize social dance nights, perform at events, parties.
After maybe 3 months, I traveled to South Africa. I worked with my agency over there for another 3 months, then back. But because of the COVID-19, all agencies have been closed down. So on that side, it's been
very fascinating stuff. I'm joined via Zoom by the CEO of Survey 54, Stefan Eisen. Great to have you on our program this morning. So real fascinating stuff.
Thank you.
From your survey indicating that people spend much more on this.
Yes.
Tell me about some of the things that you found out in terms of consumer spending.
Perfect. No, well, thank you very much, Dar, for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. So some of the interesting things that we've actually found out. So we surveyed 1,000 Ghanaians across different demographics, and we found out like 46% indicated that they're spending less on groceries because of financial constraints, but they're spending much more on data. But then what we actually did find out is what they're actually spending on. So some of the essentials was stuff such as rice and gari as well. But then also 60% said they're spending more on data and online learning also, which was really interesting. And that we've seen that online learning has taken a spark in actually, while people are at home, they want to learn a new skill, etc.
Okay, now, so despite the pandemic, the survey knows that Ghanaians remain optimistic. When asked about personal finances, most of them were not concerned.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting fact actually to bring up. So we had 55% of Ghanaians say that they're concerned actually. So they're actually concerned about their finances. But what's interesting is Ghana, compared to other African countries such as Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria, found that actually 94% of those were concerned much more than Ghanaians. And I think this is down to a few things, such as Ghanaians said that they actually got help from their local church or local groups that actually helped financially, which was really interesting comparative to Kenya, South Africa, or Nigeria. So Ghanaians felt that they were much more in a better financial position during the pandemic.
And what has been the response to our government's approach? Are people confident about government's handling of the pandemic?
Yeah, they really are actually, comparative to other countries. So 75% of those that we asked felt that the government actually supported them by enforcing the lockdown measures quite quickly and closing the borders, and also flagging sort of big cities in which the pandemic had spread much more easier because it's a more congested area. But then also 83% felt that they were well informed about what was going on, about the updates, about the numbers, essentially. So they really feel like the government has supported them. The only thing that we can say that was a negative was that 58% felt like the lockdown was lifted too prematurely. And they felt like it should be, so 68% felt like it should be reinstated. One person went as far as saying that, hey, you know, they started well, but they didn't end well. And I think that's interesting, and I guess it will be interesting to see how this plays out in the next couple of months and weeks.
And I can understand why people are quite unhappy that the lockdown was lifted quite early, because right now our case count stands at 15,000 and still counting.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the reason why people are concerned. So based on your findings, what recommendations are you making?
Yeah, so we wouldn't make recommendations to the government as such, but it's more so around businesses, right? We as Survey 54 are a voice to the people, right? We want to make sure people have a platform to share their voice and share their opinions. So with a lot of uncertainty, one thing that we would say is that it's the burden for the customers. So for instance, telco companies should maybe offer better plans and incentives. We don't believe that people should be choosing between spending more money on data or spending more money on food. But then also for the business side, where can restaurants diversify? if they're not getting that many orders, maybe they should look into more delivery and logistics services in regards to actually, hey, can I get this from the market delivered to my home, or this from a grocery store delivered to my home, and some of the really key essentials that are needed in their intimate circumstance. So.
Great stuff, Stefan. Like you point out, this is great insight, not just for individuals, for the government, but also for businesses who are at this time planning what to do as we continue to deal with the pandemic. I appreciate your input this afternoon. Let's talk sometime soon. That was of 7:54. Stefan Eisen, grateful for your time.
Thank you very much.
You're watching the marketplace here on JoyNews. Now, at the beginning of the year, mushroom farmer Aboagye-Wiafe was poised to export her produce to other countries. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has made her change plans. We will find out how she is strategizing to stay in business during these times. First, we took a visit to her mushroom farm, which is one of the biggest in our country.
2018 Best Farmer Runner-Up in the Denton Municipality, Product Innovation Award at the ESME Ghana Awards in the same year, honorary visits from Queen Mathilde of Belgium, the President of the EU, and the list goes on. Those are some of the highlights of Aboagye-Wiafe's journey as a mushroom farmer, and now she's earned the title, the Mushroom Queen. The idea to venture into mushroom production came to Aboagye while she was pursuing her master's.
I came across an article, a newspaper article on the mushroom industry in Netherlands, where they try to use the waste they have in the environment to create an economic value, that is, use sawdust in creating mushrooms which are of high protein and fiber. So I say, why not?
In Ghana, most sawmills dispose of sawdust through burning, fast polluting the environment. So the idea of using sawdust to produce mushrooms got Aboagye excited. She decided to go through training at the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research. But why mushrooms?
Mushrooms are one of the superfoods that the planet has offered mankind. It's very high in protein and fiber, and especially the B vitamins, and also antioxidant, especially selenium, which is found in only mushrooms.
Farmhands are mixing the sawdust with grains just as we arrive at the farm located at one of Accra's suburbs. This will provide the base for the fruiting block. Once the blocks are bagged and sterilized, they are spawned with seeds, and next, the incubation stage.
So this is where, after the bags have been spawned and we incubate them for 6 weeks, this is the result. You see that the bags have turned white. What we seem to be dark brown is now white. So the mycelium, which is the seed, have traveled down and has fully inoculated.
Okay.
So this is how a fully inoculated bag looks like.
Aboagye tells me at this stage, even before harvest, she's able to sell thousands of these fruiting blocks to farmers.
I guess it's the most exciting part of the whole journey, right? When we get to harvest the mushrooms.
Exactly.
And so how many days does it take for it to reach the harvesting stage?
Yeah, so from the incubation, when they are fully matured, it takes you just about 5 days and you start seeing mushrooms. That's even the maximum.
5 days?
From 3 to 5 days, depending on the good weather, you can start having your mushrooms.
So what do we do? How do we harvest?
Yeah, so you carefully prick it out.
Okay, let me try. Okay.
And then with your scissors, you take off the...
Take it off?
Yes, you take it off.
You started this in 2015, tell me. How has the journey been like?
Oh, It's been up and down with the challenges and exciting times. And I started with only 10 bags. 10 bags.
I see. I don't know how many of them I see.
Yeah, we have almost about 50,000 bags in circulation.
Wow.
It takes about 3 months for
That's
it to
tremendous growth.
And tremendous growth the mushroom queen has experienced.
So when the mushrooms are harvested, some are supplied fresh and some are supplied dried. Okay, so what we are doing now is to dry some of the mushrooms that we have harvested, and the reason behind drying, Papa tells me, is so that you can preserve them for a longer period. So this is a drying table, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, great stuff. I'm going to help her do so. So how many of these are you able to supply to the market?
Okay, on daily basis we can get averagely about 20 kilos of the fresh mushrooms, and the dry one we can on daily basis supply about 10 kilos, because for the dry you need a lot of the fresh ones in order to get the dry one. So mushrooms contains almost about 90% water, so when you dry them they become very small.
The dried mushrooms can also be ground into powder. As part of value addition, Pafape has also started making mushroom kebabs.
As a company, E90 Ghana Limited want to be one of the leading producers of mushroom, and then the net exporter also of mushroom to our neighboring neighbor countries and to the EU and the US market. Currently, we're having a contract to supply the Dubai market starting this January.
Wow.
And we are hoping that we'll get to other markets, international markets.
That's great.
Truly is great, and Pafape has earned her title, the Mushroom Queen.
And I've got great news for you because the Mushroom Queen has joined me from her kitchen this afternoon on the marketplace. Hello, Papa. Can you hear me, Papa?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Great. There's a reason why I bought this today, because I really am hungry this afternoon. I knew you were going to be at your kitchen, and I want some of your mushroom delicacy this afternoon. What's cooking in your kitchen?
Yes, today our lunch is inspired with fresh mushrooms, and we have the mushroom stew, and of course, a great mushroom kebab with some rice.
That's interesting. I mean, we are doing this because not so many people know what we can do with mushroom. We only think of putting it in the soup, right?
Exactly. So we have various things that we can use our fresh mushrooms for. We can use them for vegetable saute. We can use them for your normal stew. We can use them as a kebab for parties, weddings, and other gatherings. And also for your favorite soup, of course, your benkwai and your green and
that is really sumptuous. That is really sumptuous, Papa. And well, let's move on to other stuff because the last time I spoke with you, you talked about exporting your mushrooms to other countries. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has hit us hard. Everyone is struggling at this point. Tell me your experience briefly, can you?
Yeah, thank you. We had a fair share of the COVID-19 challenges. So still we are yet to export to one of our destinations, that's Dubai. But talks are still on. When they open the airports, we hope to begin our exports. But notwithstanding that, we still have our household demand going up, especially when the president called on all of us to take our mushrooms and dawa. We had a lot of demand. Households.
Interesting stuff. So the strategy now, you tell me, is to push people interested in taking mushroom, buying mushrooms, cooking with mushrooms, and especially when the president has indicated that it's a good immune booster.
Yeah, so now we have 80% of our sales going to the individual homes, and a lot of people now appreciate the need for them to eat healthy during the lockdown to the opening up of the lockdown. A lot of people are, very skeptical as to what they put into the system, especially where there is the need for us to boost our immune system to prevent the COVID-19. So a lot of people are looking out for healthy foods that can help boost their immune system. And of course, mushroom is definitely one of those precious superfoods that we need to have on our plates.
Great, and I hope that people buy into that idea. Quickly, in 30 seconds, I'm excited I'm featuring you today on the program. It's been a long journey from when we spoke to you during the Joy Business Van. Tell us how that feature has impacted on your business.
I say thank you to Joy Business Van. I think I've generated about 40% of my sales from Joy Business Van, and I've reached where internationally people called me from outside to know what I'm doing, what is going on with me. So big thanks to Joy Business Van for what they are doing for SMEs in Ghana and beyond. We hope that more and more people will glue to Joy Business Van to know of various job opportunities and employment opportunities that we can take advantage of whilst in our country.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Papa. Let me tell you, one nice way you can pay back is to get my plate full this afternoon. Yeah, I'm waiting for lunch, I tell you. Thank you so much.
Definitely. I think
on the marketplace
of our
kitchen.
Wow. To join us to think it's so nice.
Thank you very much. Great to have you on the marketplace. For Aboagye-Wiafe, we featured on the Joy Business Van. Doing great with mushrooms. That's all for the program this afternoon. Thanks for watching. My name is Darryl.